After discovering his unique ability to perceive events in slow motion, Jang Bu's life took a dramatic turn. He grew up feeling like an outsider until he landed a job at a CCTV monitoring center. While his colleagues focused intently on their screens, Miss Shim, another staff member, was preoccupied with chatting with a coworker. Suddenly, her monitor displayed a motorcyclist who bore a striking resemblance to a notorious thief they had been tracking. This criminal was known to have an accomplice, and soon enough, another man approached the rider. In a matter of moments, they snatched a woman's handbag. Miss Shim quickly informed their team leader, who then communicated the suspect's location to the other officers. As the CCTV monitoring center team pursued the thieves, they unexpectedly lost sight of the duo. However, Jang Bu, with his extraordinary ability to see in slow motion, was able to pinpoint their location, leading to their capture. While the team celebrated their success, Jang Bu remained silent, prompting puzzled looks from Byung-soo, one of his coworkers, and their team leader. During a sports festival at an elementary school, young Jang Bu participated in a relay race, sprinting towards Bong Sumi, the girl he had a crush on, to pass her the baton. For reasons unknown, he stumbled and was promptly taken to the doctor for an examination. After conducting several tests, it was revealed that he had a rare eye condition known as dynamic visual acuity, which allowed him to see fast-moving objects in slow motion. While this ability made it easier for him to catch quickly thrown items, it also caused dizziness, which led to his loss of balance during the race and hindered his participation in sports. Consequently, Dr. Sik, his ophthalmologist, advised Jang Bu to wear sunglasses at all times while his condition was monitored. Eventually, Jang Bu became separated from his father, who had chosen to work in a distant location to earn money for treatment of his eye condition. Fortunately, Jang Bu discovered a silver lining in his situation. His unique way of seeing the world sparked a passion for art and drawing. However, he faced ridicule from mean kids who teased him about his glasses, calling him names like alien eyes. Thankfully, Bong Sumi remained by his side. They enjoyed playing together, and she became a source of inspiration for Jang Bu's art, bringing smiles to her face with his creations. Unfortunately, being friends with Jang Bu led to Sumi being bullied by other kids, prompting her to distance herself from him, leaving Jang Bu without his only friend. In an attempt to harm his eyesight further, Jang Bu began to watch television excessively, yet he found himself captivated by dramas featuring charismatic leading men who taught him how to communicate and behave around others. Sadly, this knowledge was of little use since he had no one to practice with. He would only venture out twice a year for eye checkups with Dr. Sa. He never played outside with friends, and no one came to visit him. His life took a darker turn when he lost his father in a workplace accident. Now, the only man he knew was Dr. Sok, who persistently encouraged him to explore the outside world. Eventually, Jang Bu heeded the doctor's advice and began working at a CCTV monitoring center. This job made him feel like he was watching an unscripted drama unfold. The only difference was that everyone else was the star of their own story. As he observed various people on the screens, he noticed a little boy struggling to push a cart up a hill alone and a man who played baseball by himself every day. Their solitude stirred a desire in him to reach out, but he was also afraid they might not accept him. One night, while Byung-soo and the team leader sat on a bench, Byung-soo proudly declared himself Jang Bu's friend, embracing his uniqueness. He also assures that he will take care of Jang Bu while he is employed at the company. Intrigued by Jang Bu, Byung-soo continues to watch him and attempts to engage in conversation, even though he is often met with silence. He observes that Jang Bu has developed a peculiar habit of counting the steps people take between locations and documenting them in his sketches of various streets. One day, Jang Bu finally initiates a conversation with Byung-soo, inquiring about his usual destinations. However, Byung-soo sidesteps the question, instead focusing on Jang Bu's sketches until he shifts the topic to Jang Bu's girlfriend. This question triggers a memory for Jang Bu. He leans closer to the screen and spots a girl rushing out of her house, prompting him to stand up abruptly. Later, Jang Bu rides his bike toward her location to catch a glimpse of her from a distance. The girl is none other than Bong Sumi, his childhood friend and first love. While eavesdropping on Mi's conversation with an unfamiliar man, who appears to be a debt collector, he discovers that she is struggling financially. At the CCTV monitoring center, Jang Bu keeps a close watch on Mi's movements, becoming increasingly protective of her. The following morning, He visits the places Sumi frequents, finding joy in simply observing them. During his outing, he encounters Baek-gu, the young boy he often sees with his cart, and Sangman, who is usually playing baseball alone while dragging a couch down the street. Although he wishes to greet them, his inability to express himself clearly leads to misunderstandings. That evening, Sumi discovers the couch near the coffee shop. Unaware of Jang-bu's involvement, she sits down to rest her feet after a long walk, happily gazing at the coffee shop. The next day, after finishing her part-time job, Sumi goes to an audition, but despite her mature appearance, she is not chosen due to her limited talent. Meanwhile, at the monitoring center, Jang-bu tries to convince Byung-soo to join him in delivering an umbrella to Sumi. Dressed in raincoats, the two venture out into the downpour to reach Sumi, but their efforts are in vain when she simply walks away as Jang-bu attempts to offer her the umbrella, deterred by his odd and unsettling demeanor. Following Jang-bu's unsuccessful attempt, the two men decide to consult Dr. Sek. After some thoughtful advice, Jang-bu is encouraged to present Sumi with flowers, and that evening, his mother gives him a fresh haircut. The next day, Sumi arrives late for an audition, only to receive a call from the casting director informing her that the audition has already wrapped up. In a bid to be noticed, she begins singing in the street, captivating the attention of passers-by, particularly Jang-bu. However, when she realizes the director is unresponsive, she stops singing and aimlessly turns away. Just in time, Jang-bu grabs her hand to prevent her from stepping in front of an oncoming bus. After saving her, he presents her with the flowers, telling her that spring has arrived because she is there, which brings a brief smile to her face. Yet her expression quickly shifts, and she becomes rude to him once more. As she prepares to leave, Jang-bu calls out her name, hoping to leave a lasting impression. She corrects him, stating her name is Oh Sumi. The following morning, Jang-bu's mother wakes him up for work, but he replies that he won't be going, claiming his eyesight will deteriorate further if he continues at the monitoring center. Later that day, while out for a walk, Jang-bu unexpectedly encounters Sumi. She asks him to carry her belongings to her home. Before entering, she inquires about Bong Sumi, to which Jang-bu simply admits that he likes her. Upon arriving at work, Jang-bu immediately informs Byung-soo of his intention to quit, but his resolve wavers when he sees a joyful Sumi on the screen, reigniting his inspiration to draw. That evening, while celebrating her audition success at a restaurant, Sumi spots Jang-bu. After giving her a box of ramen, he decides to stay with her and even assists her in rehearsing her lines. When Sumi requests Jang-bu to demonstrate his skills, he adeptly catches the spoons she tosses. The other patrons also witness Jang-bu successfully catching the 438th spoon. As Jang-bu continues to follow Sumi and visit the locations she frequents, he realizes that numerous alleys remain uncovered by the CCTV, which concerns him. He begins to sketch these areas and tally the steps needed to navigate through them. Meanwhile, Byung-soo grows increasingly curious and ponders the reasons behind Jang-bu's sketching and step counting, but he can't come up with any explanations. One night, as Sumi heads home, she spots Jang-bu waiting for her. During their stroll, she learns that Jang-bu works at the CCTV monitoring center, where he spends his days observing people's daily routines. Then, Sumi brings up the person who placed the couch near the coffee shop. Jang-bu feels a surge of joy at being recognized, thinking Sumi now knows it was him, but his excitement quickly fades when she admits her attraction to the affluent-looking guy at the coffee shop. She becomes giddy at the thought of him having a car that could take her on adventures. The following day, Jang-bu can't shake off his bitterness and contemplates distancing himself from Sumi. However, when he sees her waving at the CCTV, he finds himself falling for her all over again. He decides to plan a trip for Sumi and asks Byung-soo, his mother, and Dr. Sok if they have a car. Meanwhile, Sumi has made the decision to quit her job at the mini-mart. She walks down the street with a smile, only for her day to take a turn for the worse when a debt collector starts following her. When she can't pay him again, he resorts to name-calling and other derogatory comments. Just as he seems ready to strike Sumi, Jang-bu and Byung-soo arrive to rescue her, helping her escape from the debt collector. Since the incident, the bond between the two has deepened. They start spending more time together, and Jang-bu learns that Sumi dreams of visiting the ocean. Feeling discouraged because he doesn't know anyone with a car, he suddenly remembers Sangman, who drives a bus. The next day, Jang-bu approaches Sangman, hoping to convince him to take them to the ocean. He offers to help him with the bus all day and even plays catch with him in the evening. However, when Jang-boo brings up the idea of driving to the ocean, Sangman declines. The next day, while Sumi is at work, she remains unaware of Jang-boo's plans to take her to the ocean. To Jang-boo's surprise, Sangman eventually agrees to the plan, and along with Byung-soo, they casually pick up Sumi at a bus stop. Unbeknownst to her, the bus is headed somewhere unexpected. As she dozes off during the ride, she wakes up on an unfamiliar road. To her surprise, she finds Byung-soo and Jang-boo on the bus, who inform her that they are going to the ocean. Byung-soo reassures her that she need not worry about her job, as he has already asked Miss Shim to cover for her. However, their journey is interrupted when they are stopped by an officer, as local buses are not allowed to travel into another district. After a hectic negotiation, they return to their town, with Baek-gu expressing his frustration over the failed trip. Later, Jang-boo assists Baek-gu in pushing his father up the hill and stays with him for a while. One day, while watching Sumi through the CCTV as their team leader discusses a kidnapping case, Jang-boo notices her suddenly vanish from the screen. He rushes to find her. Despite stumbling repeatedly, he presses on, anxious for her safety, only to discover that she was merely playing a prank on him. Noticing his reaction, Sumi asks if he has feelings for her, even though she isn't the Sumi from his memories. When Jang-boo admits his feelings, Sumi steps closer, takes off his sunglasses, drapes a scarf around his neck, and kisses him. After Jang-boo and Byung-soo drop Sumi off at her home, she invites them in for tea, hoping for a moment alone with Jang-boo. Jang-boo encourages Byung-soo to go ahead, but as Sumi heads upstairs, she unexpectedly encounters a wounded debt collector accompanied by 3 other men waiting for her. Meanwhile, Jang-boo struggles to ascend the stairs, his vision becoming increasingly blurred. As the men begin to ransack Sumi's house, she attempts to resist but finds herself overpowered. Jang-boo, unable to assist her due to his deteriorating eyesight, can only watch helplessly. Once the intruders leave, Sumi and Jang-boo sit on a bench outside, where she apologizes for deceiving him about her identity and for leaving him previously. She also confesses that she has kept his drawings of her. Jang-boo, however, remains silent and eventually departs from her home without a word. The following day, during his checkup with Dr. Seuk, Jang-boo is advised to avoid running and straining his eyes further. At the same time, Sumi visits an ATM to transfer funds, indicating that she has sold her house to settle her debts. She also resigns from her part-time job and returns to collect her belongings. In the CCTV monitoring center, Miss Shim spots a suspicious white car. After verifying that it shares the same license plate as a vehicle linked to a kidnapping case, she promptly alerts her team leader. They begin tracking the car, but unfortunately, they soon lose it. Meanwhile, Jang-boo grows increasingly anxious about Sumi, who is wandering the area. When she disappears from the CCTV feed, he disregards the team leader's objections and hops on a bike to search for her. Concerned for Jang-boo's safety, Byung-soo reaches out to Sangman for assistance. As for Sumi, she walks down the street with her eyes closed, only to be startled by an unknown man when she opens them. Jang-boo, still desperately searching for Sumi, collides with a car's side mirror, causing him to tumble to the ground. Byung-soo monitors him through the CCTV until he decides to leave in order to rescue Jang-boo. When the team leader becomes angry, he opts for Jang-boo, clarifying that the young man is unable to see. At that moment, Sumi is being held captive by a man who threatens her with a knife, demanding her silence as he leads her away. Despite Jang-boo's impaired vision, he manages to find Sumi and the kidnapper, sprinting towards them. Sumi breaks free from her captor and saves Jang-boo just in time as a truck nearly collides with him. Once they confirm they are both safe, the police arrive and take Sumi for her protection. Byung-soo then approaches the blind Jang-boo to comfort him and assist him in returning to their workplace. Later, Jang-boo's mother rushes to the monitoring center to collect her son. As they walk home together, he reassures her not to worry, explaining that he has prepared himself for what lies ahead. Upon learning that he would soon lose his sight, Jang-boo made the decision to memorize the alleyways so he could navigate independently. Eventually, Sumi moves out of her home while Jang-boo remains confined to his room. Seasons pass, and the two lose touch. One day, Sumi attempts to wave at the CCTV again. She retraces her steps back to the couch, and as she sits down, she spots Jang-boo inside a coffee shop. When Jangbu exits the shop, Sumi waves at him, only to be taken aback when she realizes he is now blind. She begins to silently follow Jangbu wherever he goes, eventually arriving at an art exhibit where she is the focus of every artwork. Despite his blindness, Jangbu has managed to paint the love of his life from memory. As he strolls, he suddenly halts, turning around to face Sumi. When he asks her where she would like to go next, she is astonished to find out that Jangbu is aware of her presence. Jangbu mentions that he senses Sumi's presence by the floral scent reminiscent of springtime. He reaches out his hand, inviting her to take it, and, without hesitation, Sumi rushes over to him, wrapping him in a warm embrace. On the night of the incident, the kidnapper met a grim fate. Sangman used his vehicle to block the kidnapper's escape, and with Baek Gu's assistance, they managed to restrain him. However, when the kidnapper brandished a knife, Baek Gu quickly called his father for assistance. His intimidating father shouted at the kidnapper, who instantly felt a wave of fear. Soon after, the police arrived and successfully apprehended the criminal.